who knows? If you missed what I said and you're here for the first time, welcome to live TV. My name is Lauren, and this is Certainty for Uncertain Times. And the entire goal behind my channel is to help you navigate through the chaos, the dumpster fire, the clown world. I think I said it backwards. And this is a channel that will really help you do that through the lens of the Bible, but also while connecting the most crucial dots to Bible prophecy. So if you're somebody who is trying to put together all of these crazy dots that are happening and you want to help do it through a prophetic lens, this is your channel. So go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then of course, share this video out if it helps you. So Keegan is going to be taking questions today. We have a lot to go over. And before we get started, I've got a couple things I want to tell y'all. I've basically might just read straight from this big old outline that I have today. One, I'm not feeling well. If y'all could pray for me. I don't know what is going on, but I feel like I get sick a lot more now, especially since I started working out in the public a year and a half ago. It's crazy. And I have a really good immune system. But I started getting a sore throat last night at my shift at work, and I haven't been feeling good today. I think I've even been running a bit of a fever. So if y'all could be praying for me, that would be great. So I'm going to do my best to give you all the smiles and things today. But if I'm a little off, there you go. So the first things first, I have noticed some of y'all are still asking about all the Certainty for Uncertain Times merchandise. I promise I have not forgotten. The designs are done and they are awesome. We have had a major problem finding like the right company to actually produce them. It's been a bit of a mess for me trying to figure out who to use, but I finally landed on a reputable provider and I'm very excited about that. So over the next few weeks, I'm getting everything set up through them, and then it's going to roll out to the Certainty Remnant Underground first. And if you're already in the underground, y'all know that you get 10% off any of the merchandise that I create, whether it's stickers, mugs, hoodies, t-shirts, all of it. And honestly, it's just the beginning. Big shout out to my very creative husband who takes the little bit of vision I can give him on a shirt design, which a lot of times is very garbled, and I can throw it at him and he makes it something tangible. So it's really cool, and I'm grateful for that. Second, I know I've seen some comments that some of y'all have missed my content and have been wondering where I am. Yes, I get it. I have been struggling for the last few months to stay consistent on a week-to-week basis between working nights at Texas Roadhouse, managing our home, and then Lance, as y'all know, has been rebuilding his entire business. It's just been a lot. So we've been juggling a lot of things. I'm so excited for Lance because he's getting ready to launch his software that he's been building for the last 8 months. And y'all will hear more from me about that soon because I currently use it and it's awesome. So we're getting ready to release that to the public. So I'm super pumped about that. But the reality is that I've just been struggling with exhaustion from every level and on every front. So what I have been doing is I have been asking the Lord to show me how to keep showing up here consistently and in this season, and I believe he has. So I wanted to give you guys some things y'all can take to the bank. So from now on, my upload day is going to be Friday, or as we like to say in the South, Friday. That's how my granny said it. And I'm going to do that midday. My sweet spot is usually going to be around this 1 p.m. Central time. So if you don't see a video, I would say between 12 and 2 Central, it means it's not a day that a video is going to get released. Okay. And there might be times where I have that. Sometimes I need a bye week within the month because there is so much going on. And what you'll be seeing on Fridays are things like these prophecy pulses. Sometimes we're going to have Voices of Certainty episodes recorded and live, reaction type videos to all the news going on, and then teaching topics that you guys have seen me do as well, including the piece that I need to get finished for this month, which is my final video on busting the John Darby myth. And we're going to talk through all those conspiracy theories that are around about him and his associations. So in saying that, just know that no matter the format, here's what you need to know. I'm praying over every single piece of content that goes out on this channel. I've always prayed over my content, but I really feel an even stronger urgency now to make sure that what is going out is what the Lord wants. I believe we are on very short time, and I think it matters. So I think that is really about it. Keegan will probably tell you guys how to ask questions today if you're looking for that. Is Pastor McGarry here? Hi, Pastor Gary. Yay, Pastor Gary. I'll be talking about you a lot today. This is going to be good. Okay, so let's see here. Oh yeah. And the other reason I need a bye week is because some of y'all know, if you're a part of the Certainty Remnant Underground, one time a month, we have this big video chat that we do. And it's probably one of my favorite times of the month to get to chat with all of you guys. It feels like a small group. So it's really cool. So if you want to learn more about the underground, you can do that. All the links are down below in the comments and all that good stuff. So the description box, you can go check out all that stuff. Tons of links down there. Don't sleep on the description box. And I think that's it. So let's actually get to the meat and potatoes. So today's video, it is a prophecy pulse update on all the crazy that has been going on, and boy, is there a lot. We're going to discuss a lot of topics that I'm going to give you some of my personal analysis on, some of my interpretation, and where I believe all this is headed. And I just want to say buckle up, because I do have a lot to say today, and there are some bold things that definitely need to be said. So let's just get started, okay? So the first thing that I want to do is talk about what's happening in the UK, because it's a big deal. Super cool that Pastor Gary McKibben is here today. He will probably be able to echo some of the things down in the chat. But the first thing that I wanted to start with was talking about what is going on inside of the UK. And there is some crazy Orwellian measures taking place for the biometric tracking system. So I have an article, and at the end of the stream, y'all, I'll have all of the links from today. All the stuff that I'll be sharing will be down below, so you guys can have it all. But essentially, here is a little bit about what this article said. So Chinese communist style digital tracking system is coming to the UK with a new right to work scheme in the form of a universal ID called the Brit card. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, which it sounds like a lot of you Brits are really liking that guy, he's facing some very unprecedented backlash from native-born citizens for open border policies and the two-tier justice system protecting migrants from prosecution, and is attempting to exploit public anger to gain support for an Orwellian surveillance rollout. So the government says that the mandatory ID based on the UK One login system will help stop illegal immigrants from crossing the channel by denying them access to work. The UK One system was introduced in 2023 and is built on biometric tracking. Similar programs have been attempted for 2 decades in the UK, but they have been consistently thwarted by public pressure. What's interesting to me is this was absolutely passed without the public. This was just done by their government. So we have that going on. And a couple things that I wanted to talk about was earlier this week, Pastor Gary McKibben, who is here, talked about in his prophecy update on Tuesday. Again, this will be linked below this entire video. Go watch it. But he explained how the UK is also rolling out a new wave of taxes. And I was really just kind of mesmerized when he was talking about all this. So he mentioned things like taxi taxes, which just sounds weird to say all that together, Uber taxes, a rush hour tax, and even a dinner tax that is tied to eating meat. Now, the whole idea is that if you can afford these things, then you're better off than those who can't. And that's what he was talking about, is why they're doing this. Like, this is for the good of the people, right? Of course, that's how they always frame it. What I found really interesting, besides all of these taxes being more theft to the citizens of the UK, is the meat tax. And as y'all know, if you've been watching any end times events for any time, there has been a massive push to get everyone off of meat. And we all know the scripture in 1 Timothy 4:1-3, and I've got it here, and it is in the KJV, and I don't speak KJV very well, but we're going to try, okay? Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times, some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. And the reason I chose to use the King James on that one is because it mentioned meat. A lot of the other translations don't really mention meat. And I was like, we have to put the one that does in here. And I remember a couple years ago seeing all the commercials with all the celebrities coming out, you know, talking about how bugs are good for us. You've got Bill Gates and his Beyond Meat company. And I think Kevin Hart represents that now. And so this is just a piece of Bible prophecy. So I just found it interesting that the UK is wanting to tax people on dinner, especially for things of meat. Now, y'all probably saw the screenshot. It kind of went viral on the interwebs this week. And I shared it in my Telegram if you follow me. But it's this screenshot that shows that on October 12th, the UK entry and exit system, the travelers are going to have to submit to this biometric scanning, okay? And that's going to be at the UK borders. Now, Pastor Gary mentioned this specifically because he's living over there in this. And this is why this is so fascinating to me, because what is going on over there will eventually get here. And I think it's going to get here a lot faster than people realize. But one of the things that he mentioned is that, and Pastor Gary, feel free to mention this in the comments or submit something when we do questions, but he mentioned that when he goes to minister in Europe, he'll have to have his irises scanned and his fingerprints just to move around. This is in his own native area. And that to me was just fascinating because part of me just cannot believe this is where we are. We've been saying for a long time, this is what's coming, and it's here. like overnight. So I do want to be very clear because a lot of people are freaking out, which is normal. This reminds me of 2020. But it's not the mark of the beast, guys. It's not. We can't have a mark of the beast without a beast first, and we don't have that beast yet, okay? But it is part of the system that will be used. And I personally think we're beyond the foundation of that system now. I think that we are just adding block by block by block to get there. It's just like the foundation was built a long time ago. And now it's just like, y'all, this might be a bad analogy, but y'all remember the video game Tetris? When, you know, the blocks start, they start stacking up on you because you can't no longer get them down and you're hitting the wall. That's kind of what I feel like we're doing. So the other thing that was pretty shocking about this is Pastor Gary mentioned that all of this had just unfolded within 2 weeks' time. And I personally think it just goes to show you that they don't give a flip about what the citizens want. These people, these rulers of the earth are going to do whatever they want to. And it reminded me of 2008. And I was pretty young. I guess I would have been, I don't know, 22 in 2008. And so here in the United States, that was when we saw the swift move of our medical records going to a digital system. That was when the digital medical records were rolled out. And that was known as EMR, electronic medical records. Now, this was a really huge step back then as well. And my parents owned a medical transcription company. My mom still does. That's what she does to make her living. But I really remember how massive that shift was, how so much my dad loathed President Obama for a myriad of reasons, but that was one of them. And my parents had to completely restructure their business to adapt. They had to restructure their marketing. They had to buy all these different systems to protect it was crazy. And it cost them a lot of money too in their business just to stay current and stay in business. So looking back, that was one of those foundational building blocks of this system that we're now going into, leading to the digital system that we are watching roll out today. And at some point, you guys, the crazy part is that we're not even going to be able to use the internet without these IDs. I would be interested for all of y'all paying attention in the UK to what's going on because you're living in it currently. If that talk has already started, if that is something that they are going to roll out soon, whatnot. But I want y'all to think about that. Even watching a live stream like this is going to require an ID for you to submit to. That to me is crazy. And the crazy part too is that, you know, because again, I put all this together based on the biggest events that have happened this month. Can y'all tell me if I'm freezing up a little bit? Because if I am, I'm going to try to turn down my, whatever it's called, pixels. I don't even know. Let's see. Full resolution. Let's take it down. Whoa, that looks weird. Okay. All right, guys, let me know if I'm still freezing up. I changed the pixels a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. Okay. Anyway, so it's going to start on our phones first and then move towards something on the skin. And y'all know if you've been paying attention, but Bill Gates was in the press talking about this a few weeks ago. I have an article I'll link for you from MSN. Please don't hate me for using articles like this, guys. It's just I'm picking up articles. I don't care what source they're from. If it's true, it's true, and this is true. So Bill Gates has predicted the end of the smartphone era with the technology being replaced by electronic tattoos. These emerging devices developed by startups like Chaotic Moon, I find that interesting. Oh, did you say it's worse, Keegan? I'm telling you what, man, the enemy don't want me talking today. I can tell. Okay, I'm going to keep going because I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it. So Chaotic Moon, developed by startups like Chaotic Moon, would allow users to communicate, access information, and monitor their health without needing a handheld device. Some of the key points from Gates' predictions are the electronic, there we go, tattoos. So a nanosensor-equipped tattoos embedded in the skin serving as communication and data devices. Replacing passwords, this would be the functionality piece of it. Passwords, keys, and even accessing the internet and tracking health data. And then the goal is fully to merge technology in the body, replacing the need for smartphones. And he was real adamant about the whole smartphone, like replacing those altogether. That was something that he really brought forward a lot inside of all of these articles and all those things that I kind of read this last month. So It's not just Gates either. I think everybody knows this. Elon Musk is working on Neuralink, which is a brain machine interface, which we've talked about it on this channel. Zuckerberg is pushing the AR glasses to integrate the digital world into our line of sight. And then plenty of other companies are creating AI powered wearables to replace screens altogether. So it's just kind of a myriad of different things that are going on right now for this to take place. And then I think Larry Ellison summed it up when he said this, and I think he made this quote a couple years ago, but I have seen it making the rounds. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we'll be constantly recording and monitoring what's going on. So let me just ask you this. Do you see where this is headed? And if you do, I want you to comment below, comment in the chat that you see it. You see that it's happening. And that really brings me to the next piece of this, because what they're going to have happen is they need almost a total participation of the entire digital system to work. And what I mean by that is they have to have everybody in the population participating in this. And honestly, I think the only way that they can get there is through war. And that brings me to the next big piece of news. And that is the fact that we have so much talk about war right now. There was a major meeting this week with top military leaders here in the US. I happened to watch parts of the speeches from both Trump and Pete Hegseth. And if you follow me on Telegram, then some of the quotes I'm about to give you are going to sound really familiar. So first of all, y'all know that we now don't have a Department of Defense. We now have a Department of War here. I don't like that. I just find that weird. But Pete Hegseth said this. So this is one quote. From now on, the job of the US military will be to create peace through war. Then he said, if you want to have peace, you've got to be ready for war. And then Trump said, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, we'll straighten them out one by one. You'll play a major part in that. This is a war from within. And then he went on to say, and he added to all the troops that he's told them that he's sending them to these cities so that basically it will be a training ground for our troops. That doesn't sound good to me. I don't like hearing that they're sending our military to big cities to be a training ground. What does that mean? I have a lot of questions. So here's my take on this. I think the only reason conservatives, especially Christian conservatives and conservatives in general, I think, again, you've got this marrying of the conservative crowd and the Christian crowd, which we're going to get to a little bit too. I think they're rallying behind all of this and this guy because they think that he is for them. That's what they think. And he's not. He's never has been. He's a globalist. He's been a globalist from the jump. And many of us have been talking about this for a very long time, that he is a globalist. Now, I am hoping that the internet will hold out because it's really going to frustrate me if it doesn't. But the next thing that I want to do is share a little bit from something I happened to watch yesterday. And this is a video from Tony at Minute to Midnight and Leo Homan. If y'all watch Tony over at Minute to Midnight, he has an incredible channel. So I would say definitely go check this out. Again, I'll link everything down in the description box below after we're done here today. But I watched this yesterday and it was so wild because everything that they talked about had lined up so closely with everything that I have been writing for this outline for the past week. For me, it felt like confirmation that, okay, I'm not the only one seeing these things. I can't encourage you enough to go watch it. The link is below, but I'm going to play a couple of clips because they really just hammered this out so well. So let's hope that this works, y'all. All right. Hopefully y'all can hear it too. You'll have to let me know. Here we go.
Trump has been he's either changed and he's no longer America first. He's a globalist,
or he's always been one.
Or I was getting ready to say, and this is the theory that I would come down on. He never was an anti-globalist. He never was America first. He works for the globalists, absolutely, inside and out. He is totally a globalist asset. Yep. And he will change his mind and go to war. All he has to do is be told by the right people. Okay. Absolutely. And that explains why he had so many neocons in his inner circle. People like Mike Waltz, his national security advisor, now the UN ambassador, people like Marco Rubio, people like General Kellogg. These are all dyed in the wool neocon globalists who march to the tune of the international bankers whenever they're told that now's the time to go invade another country and start another war here, there, or yonder. And and don't worry about paying for it. That'll come on the backs of the U.S. taxpayer. And don't worry about the bodies. We'll provide the bodies. All we have to do is a false flag attack of some sort, and we'll get those stupid Yankees, those stupid Americans to send their sons to sign up for the military, like after 9/11. And they'll throw their sons at us to go die on the front. It works every time. So expect a big false flag attack. The Charlie Kirk thing was major, but I feel like that was just a softening up of the battlefield. They still need something even bigger than that to take place to get people to cry out and say, "Oh my gosh, the enemy is so and so," okay, and we need to go to war with them. Fill in the blank. Russia, China, maybe both. I don't know. Iran. But big war is coming.
So people forget, and I've never forgotten, before Trump's first term, when he was still in the election campaign, he said, "I am a globalist, a nationalist and a globalist." People ignore that. That was out of Trump's own mouth way back then. And I've always believed he's a globalist asset. I've said that since before he was elected the first time. I've never changed that. People can go back through all our Minutes Midnight shows. I've never changed that belief that Trump was always a Manchurian candidate, a Trojan horse, yes, whatever you want to call him. And now we're seeing it. It doesn't matter. When you're in politics, to get to the top echelon of politics, you have to be part of the club. That's it. Yep. I don't think you get there if you're not, whether you're left or right. It's just, there. And as far as the war goes, though, Leo, I mean, Russia's nukes are...
Okay, so let me stop sharing that one. Let's see here. All right. Boy, I tell you what, guys, I am having the tech difficulties today. There we go. So the first thing that I want to say is, first of all, thank you to Leo and Tony for your boldness on that statement. I don't think I've ever heard Leo Hohmann be so direct about Trump. I think he's kind of been on the fence for a long time. So when I watched that yesterday, I was just blown away to hear him speak like that. And honestly, it was really refreshing just to see that a lot of people are really waking up to what is going on across the board. And I'm very happy to see that. I'm going to try one more time to take down the resolution here, guys, because I feel like everything is just freezing on me. So give me just a second. I think part of the problem is I actually need a new computer. I think it's about that time. She's seen better days. Sorry, guys. Just getting some stuff frozen on this side. Y'all give me just a minute here. Wow. Okay. We'll let it catch up. Okay. So as for the messages from Trump and Hegseth this week, to me, what it felt like after I watched everything is that Trump and Hegseth were not talking about defense. I'm sure there was talk about defense in there, but it seemed more to me like they were pumping people up for some kind of offensive war, almost like a pep rally. Y'all been to a pep rally before? You've been in high school, you've been in a pep rally. That's really what it felt like to me. And I just have to ask, this is the question, and pardon me if it's a bit sarcastic, but isn't Trump supposed to be the anti-war president? Isn't that the name of his game? Like, hasn't he been going around touting that how peaceful he is and he's the guy who can wheel and deal peace? So what I would like to personally know is, when did peace and war suddenly start meaning the same thing? Was there a memo where some words changed, some definitions again, and I didn't get it, and now these two things mean the same thing? Because as far as I can tell, they have never meant the same thing. And what I am seeing across this entire earth is that governments are practically foaming at the mouth right now for war. I believe they want to push us into it because I truly believe war is the only way that people will cry out for the solution. And all this digital ID nonsense that they're doing, that is what eventually is going to be tied into the solution. That is the solution. That's where they want to get us to. And that will be the mark of the beast. What we're seeing is the Hegelian dialectic in full swing again. And it's in full swing in many components of this, not just the war piece, not just, it's in all the pieces. It's create the problem. We've already got the solution, and we just need to move the people like a herd of cattle to where we want them to go. And I think that's what they're doing. And if they create war, whether that's global or civil war, and right now I think it could be a both scenario. people will beg. They will absolutely beg for peace and safety because, and the governments know it. They know that. They won't even question the measures on how it's to get done. They'll just want normalcy back. Do y'all remember 2020? I heard this phrasing a few weeks ago. Somebody called it COVID 2020, so I thought I would adopt that. But COVID 2020 was a test run. It was a test run. And y'all have heard me and plenty of others say that what they did back then was a testing ground. It was a pre-show. It was whatever you want to call it, the before to what is really coming. And what Leo Hohmann pointed out in this video that I thought was so profound to me is he said that during COVID 2020, we had about an 80% participation rate to people as a whole on an earthly scale. Okay. And what they need for this digital ID system, this digital prison really is what it is. They need 99 to 100% of the people to participate. Now, 80%, that was close, but it's not the 99 to 100 that they really need. And I think that that's the key. And that's why they're pushing some of these things that we're seeing now. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Hey, good job, computer. It's trying to keep up, y'all. Okay, so on a global scale, what I feel like is we see all of our world leaders drooling, foaming at the mouth for me. That's what I see, and it's everywhere. And I kind of started to think this week because, you know, Lance and I have been having a lot of conversations about this too, how we think it's going to play out, you know. But I remember L.A. Marzulli putting this theory out there that there was some idea that he had that perhaps it could be like a nuclear war would be the catalyst for the rapture. Well, I hadn't really gotten on that, you know, that train, right? But I can see that. I could see that being a possible catalyst by the way everything is going. And by the way, so it said, we've talked about this in a lot of videos too, but the word harpazo means to be snatched out by force. What better time for that than in the middle of global chaos or right before some kind of nuke hit? And so we're kind of seeing that this is where this is all going. And that's the big question mark for me of what we need to be watching. We need to be paying attention to what these leaders are doing and talking about. Now let's do the second clip that I have. And this is another part of this interview with Leo and Minute to Midnight, old Tony. All right, here we go.
To each other. And we've had that left-right divide for years where even people in the same family, you're left, I'm right, we can't talk anymore, right? That's been going on at least since COVID. But so we've had this left-right paradigm, but now I think it's going to be how many even within the right during Donald Trump's administration can we divide off from each other and splinter this even further? So where we know not only does it splinter American society further, but it also shows us exactly who our enemy is and how large it is. See, so so you got this MAGA base of 70 some million people, almost 80 million. And how many of those are critical thinkers who, when they hear something from Donald Trump come out of this puppet's mouth, and they'll say, that doesn't square with my values, I'm not going to do it. And how many will say, oh, even though it seems a little weird, a little maybe wrong, Donald Trump said it, so and we know that he's smarter than everybody and is playing 5D chess, so we need to trust him and do it. You know?
Yeah.
By the end of Trump's administration,
that 5D chess game gets me, y'all. I see that in so many comments all the time. I'm just rolling my eyes like, when are y'all going to wake up and see what is really going on? If he's playing 5D chess on anybody, it is you. It is not the rest of the world. Okay, let's continue.
They will know how many in America are one or the other. Sycophants who, if the right man tells them to do something, they'll do it, even if it sounds a little weird and not in their best interest, they'll do it anyway, because I trust Trump and he knows more than I do. He must be playing 5D chess, so I'm going to do it, even if it seems a little weird to me or outside of my value structure. They'll know how many are that, and they'll know how many are still critical thinkers. They haven't checked their brain at the door for Donald Trump. Yes, they voted for him, but they're done with him because the messaging they're getting from him is now antithetical to their values.
I tell you what, I'll go even add to that and say, uniting towards a one world religion is another part of the goal, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at Turning Point USA as a catalyst for that in many ways. Again, it's like, you know, people, will they think critically about what doctrinally they're told? Will they just jump on it? Oh, this is Christian, we've got to jump on board with it. Will they look at it and go, hang on a second, where is this leading? Why are we being united with the Roman Catholic Church and whatever else, you know, and moving it all together? Because I think that's a critical part of the beast system, is the one world government and a false prophet type thing, whoever that is.
And the sort of syncretization.
Yes, and I see that Charlie Kirk assassination is pushing
Mormonism
that.
too, by the way. Mormonism is being folded into the greater Christian religion.
Yeah, exactly. And you're seeing that big time in the last couple of weeks. And so I don't think any of it's by accident.
And there you go. Don't think any of it is by accident. Tony, thank you so much for saying that, because this is a big problem that we are seeing. And we're seeing this uniting under this banner of unity. And if you watched any of the Charlie Kirk memorial and you had ears to hear, you probably caught some of it. And if you didn't quite catch some of it, or you're thinking, man, I don't know, something just doesn't sit right with me, your discernment meter was probably going off for a reason. But some of us caught what was really going on. It was really disturbing, and it lines right up with that 7 Mountain Mandate crowd. And I don't have time to go into all of that today, but let me just say this. Do not, I repeat, do not align with it. This entire thing that they're doing right now, it is going into the beast system of the one world religion. And I know that is not popular to hear. I understand what happened with Charlie Kirk has been very hard to see and watch, but there is a lot of nefarious stuff going on, and it is to unite the religions of the world. It reminded me, it's so funny, because I told Lance this yesterday when we were talking to this. So this reminds me of what Constantine did back in early church history. I think that was around the 300s, where he forced Christianity to be mandated by the state. That is what we are seeing right now, is this merriment of politics and this merriment of it's religion. It's not Christianity, folks. It's religion, but it is not Christianity. And I said that to him yesterday, and it's so funny. I looked at one of my girlfriend's stories this morning, and she had shared something similar that somebody else had said, and I was watching another video while I was getting dressed for the stream today, and he mentioned about it being Constantine. I said, well, that's two total confirmations for me on something that I was thinking about. So I don't have time to go into all of that, but let me just say that it feels like that playbook is every bit of what we just talked about so far is a playbook, and it is all being played out right in front of us. So now let's talk a little bit about the government shutdown, because I have a couple of things here. So the United States government shut down this week. It's not the first time, right? But it officially shut down on October 1st. I'll have a link for you after the stream is over if you want to go read the article that I pulled. But here's what's different from past shutdowns. Normally, what happens is the federal employees, they're furloughed, and eventually they get back pay when things reopen. This time, though, first of all, I feel like the timing is very interesting to me. There's that piece of it. So I'll just leave that. I'll just put a pin in that. That's what we'll do. We'll just put a pin in the timing. But this time, Trump's administration is making it very clear that he may use this shutdown to permanently cut jobs. According to the reports, the Office of Management and Budget even issued a memo before the shutdown directing agencies to prepare for mass firings, specifically targeting jobs not consistent with the president's priorities. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a lot of things that conservatives are cheering for. In fact, I see a lot of them online. I'm connected to a lot of them online. Shrinking the government, cutting the dead weight. I get it. Finally, somebody is taking action, but here is the problem. And this is where we have got to wake up, be awake, and speak out. That language right there, positions not consistent with his priorities. That is double speak, y'all. That is double speak, serpent language. It's dressed up to look like reform, but it is really control. This is exactly how the Antichrist system will operate. They're going to present it as good for the people, cutting waste, restoring order, keeping illegals out of your country, right? It's going to be safer because we can end child trafficking if we cut the cash. Think about all this stuff that you are hearing. It is dressed up to look like reform, but it is fully control. And before you know it, that entire system that everybody's cheering for because their guy's in power flips on them. It flips and you become the target. I become the target. Trump talks like he is an anti-globalist, but his entire agenda is global. He surrounds himself with global people, brings all them people into the White House at the dinner table to have meetings. It made me sick to see Bill Gates sitting at that table with him. It made me sick to see Mark Zuckerberg sitting at that table with him. What are you doing? Do you remember what happened to all of us in 2020? Of course you do. You were in on it. Okay, that's what's going on. So you need to watch who he is appointing. These are the same people that are building the beast system. If he was not part of it, he would not be associated with these people and allow him to be running in his administration. And I stand on that. So while it might look like a win on paper right now and a lot of things, this is one more block in the larger structure. And sooner or later, the priorities being forced won't be for you. They're going to be you as the target. And that's what we need to be talking about and what we need to remember. Now, let's go on to the next thing. I got a little heated up there. Sorry. This is why I try to stick to my outline, okay? Otherwise, y'all start seeing my dad come out. Peace and safety with Israel. So in other breaking news this week, Netanyahu has agreed to the Trump-Gaza peace plan. Trump came out and announced it publicly, and here are some of the details. I'm not going to go through the 21 points. Pastor Gary did a great job of going through the 21 points on one of his lives the other day. But anyway, let's go through just a couple of bullets here. Arab and Islamic countries will be responsible for dealing with Hamas if Hamas accepts, which I think what I saw this morning, because that's been the big thing, like, have they agreed? Have they not? Trump has given them an extension until Sunday. And I do believe what I saw today on Telegram, I'd have to pull it up, that if they don't agree to it, there will be hell to pay. Again, we're going right back to the war conversation. Y'all see how this is all just one giant circle? It's just a circle. So if Hamas accepts, the deal calls for the immediate release of all hostages. This is amazing. These hostages need to come home. I think it's even just, I won't even get off on that tangent. Just let that go, Lauren. Hamas is now the only party left to agree. Trump has said if they reject it, Netanyahu has my full support. And I've seen statements of like hell to pay. A new Gaza deal board of peace will be created, and Tony Blair is already on it. Others will be named for the coming days. Again, Pastor Gary talked a lot about Tony Blair in his update. I believe this was all on Tuesday. So definitely go check out his stuff that I'll have linked afterwards. And then Trump floated the idea, this was just weird to me, of Iran joining the Abraham Accords, saying, who knows, maybe even Iran can get into the Abraham Accords. We hope we can get along with Iran. I think they will be open to it. They can be a member. Sometimes I just think he just spouts thing off. But anyway, I digress. So here's a direct quote from him, Trump, about ending the war in Gaza. There's a lot of language that I'm going, woof. Within a few days, there shouldn't be shooting in Gaza. There probably will be, but there shouldn't. Maybe for eternity. Wouldn't that be nice? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so hard when I see him speak. I just have so many questions. No one that's sitting there in the press ever asked him anything that's actually worthy that the rest of us want to know. And then there's this one. To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, which will be headed, not at my request, but by a gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump of the United States. So he's going to be the guy sitting on the Board of Peace. That's interesting. I'll drop the full 21 point plan in my description box at the end of this. But what I want to say is I want to be very clear. There's a lot of people talking about how, this might be good or whatnot. At the end of the day, from everything that I can see, this is still a two-state solution. And unless I'm confused about that, this is what I see. When you read it, it is still a two-state solution. And I don't care when it rolls out or what name they give it or how it rolls out. I don't agree with it. It's a two-state solution. It's dividing the land of Israel that is the size of New Jersey that everybody apparently feels the need to argue over. And it's not to be done. Now, here's my personal take. And I've seen a lot of other people say this week too. So again, I feel like this has just been confirmation for me. This is the foundation of Daniel 9:27. It is not Daniel 9:27, folks. It's not. But it is laying the groundwork. And once again, notice the language, peace and safety. This is what everyone is crying out for and what their goal is to get everyone to cry out for. It's happening on multiple fronts at the same time. Peace and safety for this, peace and safety for that, it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. And that's exactly what scripture told us would happen. So let me throw this out to you guys in the chat. Do you guys see this as a setup for Daniel 9:27, or do you think we still are further away from that? I would love to hear your thoughts in the chat. Drop it down there. If you're watching this on the replay, drop them in the comments. Let me know. I want to hear what you think. I think there could be something interesting I was thinking about this morning, and I don't have this in my outline, so I'll rattle off real quick. I do wonder if this whole peace plan and somehow the Abraham Accords, they can come together and make it one giant document or one giant peace plan that they put together. And then that could be the foundation for the confirmation or the making stronger, because Daniel 9:27 in the original language is to make stronger. So maybe that's what it is. It's those two things together that the Antichrist makes stronger. So there's that. Okay, so in other big news, we can't get off here without me talking about this, and I just want to bring up a couple of things. Well, the Rapture didn't happen last week, right? So we had another big Rapture fail. Last week came and went, and of course nothing. And now, because apparently the calendars are wrong, a new date has been set, and people are looking at next week. Now, it doesn't seem to be getting as much buzz as this last one, which praise the Lord. But I want to give you guys 3 reasons why we should take no part in date setting, and I want to be very clear about this. One, it's just really obvious. We're commanded not to do so. That really should be full stop. People can try to square up this however they want to justify it, but when you look at the whole context of end times prophecy, it's clear. The only reason that the Jews should have known and recognized Jesus the first time is because how it was fully prophesied out in the Old Testament and how it would happen. That's the reason they should have recognized him. That's why he was upset with them. But the rapture is not spelled out that way. We're only told about the things that are going to happen in the tribulation, and we can see these things lining up brick by brick by brick by brick coming just rapid speed at us. But we were not told to figure the rest out, okay? Secondly, this is really important. We have a responsibility to a watching world. What we say and do matters. Let me say that again. We have a responsibility. We as a collective whole have a responsibility to a watching world. What we say and do matters. Is what we're putting out there causing others to stumble in their faith? Or worse, is it pushing unbelievers to turn away from Jesus altogether? Because that's what I saw a lot of from this entire experience that has just ramped up since last month and came to a close last week. So let me say this. If you've got a platform or you're just in your own talking circle, like you have a circle of friends and whatnot, you have got to remember that people are listening to you. They're watching you. They're listening to you. And in our space, we have some incredible watchmen and some incredible watchwomen blowing the shofar on his soon return. But that does not lessen the responsibility that we carry to a watching world. And yes, that includes me. We have to make sure that what we are doing is biblically aligned. So for me, I have made no bones about it. I am watching this year like a hawk looking at some mice in a field, okay? If we hit January 1st, 2026, my watch, I'm be sitting up on that wall, getting louder in 2026. Okay, I'll shift my watch. If we run into 2027, I will get back up on that wall and I will be looking at 2027 and I will be shouting from the rooftops about what is going on. Now, why can I say that? Because with each passing day, with each passing week, with each passing month, with each passing year, look at what is going on around you. Y'all, prophecy is barreling faster at us. Today could be the day. Today could be the day. We don't need to put a date on it because one day we are going to wake up and that day is going to be today. So let's just focus on what we see in front of us. Focus on the fact that there are people perishing out there and they do not have long to make a decision. What I really don't understand is why people keep doing this. Now, this is the first big date thing that I've ever seen in my time of being a watchman. I remember hearing about 88 Reasons and Herald Camping and all that stuff. But what I have noticed is that in every account, and this one I think takes the cake, it gives the church a black eye. And it gives the pre-trib camp 2 black eyes. And more than that, I honestly believe it turns people away from even considering Jesus. I've seen it firsthand with people in my life. I had people that I personally know mocking and scoffing about, did y'all know the rapture is going to happen tomorrow where I work? I was there, didn't hear it. But, this is funny. So much so that someone actually mentioned that the Bible said it was supposed to happen 2,000 years ago. That's how little people know. But because of what people were doing out in the public, this person who's an atheist, by the way, doesn't believe in God, and I'm trying to make a difference and an impact, now has a reason not to trust a Christian. And then I had other friends who I saw on your Instagram, you can see who like stuff, liking the mocking and the scoffing of the rapture. The rapture didn't happen today. Maybe I wasn't good enough to go. I'll get in on the second round. These are people that I've directly had conversations with that know what I do. So this is why we have to be ultra careful. This is why I believe the enemy uses lying spirits that sound convincing. He wants nothing more than to turn people away from Jesus altogether. If he can take something that's truly coming to pass and twist it through predictions, and that's exactly what this was, it was predictions, not prophecy, and it doesn't come true, then he wins on multiple levels. He discredits believers, he divides the church, and he discourages people that are seeking out the truth. And the last one and the most important one is we lose our witness and our credibility, which I almost feel like is one and the same of what I've just talked about. So let me just say this, whether you're a channel or a ministry, or you have your own circle of influence, when you repeat these claims, you are staking the name of Jesus on it. And when it doesn't happen, that's what people see. They don't say, oh man, that person was just mistaken. They say, dude, that crazy Jesus person can't even get their own prophecy dates right. What else do they have wrong? Guys, I read about a woman online who called a lady and asked her if she could take her dog because the rapture was going to happen. Well, first of all, she ain't seen my video on Rapture and the Pets, so there's that. But she called this lady because she, in her mind, she knew this lady was going to be left behind. You know how offensive that is? This is what people were doing. So that's the kind of damage that this causes. This is a huge level. Now, I know that those who want a date set are not going to stop, but let me at least appeal to those of you watching right now, or those of you that know somebody who date sets or is going to continue to do it. If you absolutely insist on doing it, just keep it to yourself. Just keep it private. Share it with your small circle of friends and y'all geek out and do your thing, right? But stop using platforms to spread it publicly. Don't be sending out mass emails. Don't be going to work being the crazy person yelling that the rapture is going to happen to your 20 unsafe friends, that your coworkers that work up there. Don't do that, because it fails 100% of the time. Ain't nobody got it right yet. So I want to give a big shout out to Mike Winger. Mike Winger put out 2 of the most gracious, loving videos about this I've ever seen on the subject. And I'll link them both below if you haven't watched them. Mike is super solid on theology. I don't know if Mike is pre-trib, but he was a gentleman in how he handled it. And I was so glad to see those videos come out and how he was encouraging and at the same time just really caution people to stop doing this. And then lastly, Lee Brainerd released an incredible encouragement video on the rapture this week as well. I'm going to link that below, but I want to read a few lines from what he said because it really hit me. Lee's video was nothing but an encouragement to all of us who are believing in the pre-trib rapture, because he knows we take it on the chin when stuff like this happens. And like I said, we get 2 black eyes. So here's what he said, and this hopefully don't bring me to tears today, but it did when I watched it the other day. So here we go. Thankfully, the rapture is going to shake many people out of their sleep. They're going to realize that Jesus and the gospel and Bible prophecy are true after all. Their family and friends were right. Their workmates were right. The preachers were right. And they're going to repent and believe the gospel. They're going to go find a Bible and start reading like there's no tomorrow. We're going to be vindicated, folks. We who believe in a pre-trib rapture are going to be vindicated. We'll be vindicated for watching and waiting for, hoping and watching for and waiting for and hoping for the rapture. We'll be vindicated for our stand for the literal interpretation of scripture, particularly for the literal interpretation of Bible prophecy. We will be vindicated for recognizing the signs of the times in the Bible and in the world around us. We'll be vindicated for our defense of Israel. And we will be vindicated when our non-dispensational friends own the truth of dispensationalism in the aftermath of the rapture. That, to me, is powerful. And that's what we need to hold on to. And Luke 12:37 reminds us of this. Blessed are those servants whom the master, when he comes, will find watching. So stay watching, guys. Stay loud about the times that we're in. Just don't date set. Just don't get caught up in that. It's not only about us, because every time a date fails, it's not just our own credibility on the line. It's the name of Jesus that's dragged through the mud in front of a watching world. And unbelievers, seekers, even your own kids. I don't got kids. I got cats. Y'all know. But they're watching and how we handle all this. So when we chase after dates, instead of just screaming about the signs of the tribulation that are coming at us, and then those dates don't happen, it can really push people further away from the truth instead of toward it. And that's why it matters so much that we get this right. So questions are closed. Keegan just said, and I want to point that out. So the last thing I want to say is this: with all the craziness going on, I do not want to leave you guys heavy. I don't want to leave you discouraged. I actually want to leave you encouraged. Now, I've been in the book of Ezra recently. I just finished it, and now I'm in Nehemiah, learning about all the gates and just how awesome the book of Nehemiah was. But I want to share a few things that stood out to me. Ezra chapters 4 and 5 are all about resistance to building the temple, okay? The opposition was so thick back then, and they literally hired attorneys just to frustrate the work of those that had come back from captivity into Jerusalem and were going to rebuild. Now, that frustration with the attorneys, it worked, and that temple was shut down. The building time for it was shut down for 15 years. But then in chapter 5, everything shifted. King Darius looked into the archives. Thank you, King Darius, for doing that. He found the decree from King Cyrus, and he said, yeah, the temple's going to be built, and the work started up again. Y'all get to work. That's what happened. Now, here's the point. If you know Ezra 4 and 5, you can go read about this, but I just want to give you a little synopsis there. The point is that opposition is guaranteed. When we stand for truth, we should expect pushback. And I believe we're going to see that on multiple fronts as the remnant. We're going to see it when we push back against anti-Semitism. We're going to see it when we push back against ecumenicalism and this push for unity of the faiths. We're even going to see it in our own circles when people claim God said something that he clearly didn't say and didn't line up with his word. But there's a lot that we can do in the face of opposition. And this is what I want to leave you with today. And I got this from Pastor Gary Hamrick of Cornerstone Chapel. He's our pastor right now. As y'all know, we do church online. But he shared 5 principles from Ezra that I want to pass on to you. So principle 1, as long as your motives are pure and your actions honor God and his word, honor God and his word. It doesn't matter what others think. Romans 8:31. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Number 2, don't retaliate. Object, address it if needed, but don't take revenge. Romans 12:19, and this is out of the New Living Translation. I just love how it reads. Dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God, for the scriptures say, I will take revenge. I will pay them back, says the Lord. Number 3, pray for those who oppose you. Matthew 5:44, but I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Number 4, view opposition as an opportunity. God brings unexpected good out of undesirable situations. I had many people say to me this week, you know what, Lauren, even though all this wouldn't happen, you know how many people Googled the rapture on the day that it and all that happened? Yes. Well, I do. A lot of them. In fact, I heard it was more Googled than Taylor Swift. Praise the Lord for that. I will say I do not think that was God's original plan, was to have this happen so that people would Google the rapture. I just think that he took ashes and made some beauty out of it. But I digress. The scripture to go along with view opposition as an opportunity. Y'all know this scripture if you know the word. Genesis 50:20. This is when Joseph meets his family again. And what does he say to him, his brothers? But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day to save many people alive. Number 5, and the final one, our kindness makes room for God's justice and he will reward it. So keep loving the people who scoff and mock us right now. Keep loving them. They still need Jesus, because when the rapture happens, and it will, it's still on, we're going to get to that bema seat and we're going to be rewarded for our faithfulness and our watching. Proverbs 25:21-22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. And if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For so you will heap coals of fire on his head and the Lord will reward you. And the verse that I want to close this with before we go to a few questions is one that I have loved for a long time. Jeremiah 6:16. I'm reading this from the New Living Translation because it says it clearly. This is what the Lord says. Stop at the crossroads and look around. One version I read this out of actually says, stand at the crossing and consider where your lives are headed. That is powerful. And the next part of that verse says, ask for the godly way and walk in it. Travel its path and you will find rest for your souls. And the second part of this verse says, but you reply, no, that's not the road that we want. So here's why I'm reading this. It is exactly where we are right now. Jeremiah was warning God's people of what was coming, and most of them didn't want to listen. They wanted to bury their heads in the sand, pretend it wasn't happening, look the other way, make excuses. And they saw the signs, they heard the word of the Lord, and they still said, no, this is not the road that we want. We cannot be the second half of that verse, y'all. We cannot. We cannot be the Christians who ignore the warnings, who chase comfort, who shrug prophecy off as if it's irrelevant, who fall into the trap of preterism, saying that it's already happened, that we're in Satan's little season or whatever it is they're saying these days. We cannot be the ones saying, no thanks, we're going to take the easy road out. We have to be part of the first verse, the ones who stop at the crossroads, the ones who look around, the ones who are asking for the godly way, because it's obvious where the road of the world is going, straight to a digital prison, straight to the beast system, straight into a false unity of faiths where ecumenicalism replaces truth, and that is the one world religion. So what do? We stand. We stand against the counterfeit unity. We stand against the digital system of control that's being dressed up as safety for us. We stand against the lies of peace that are really just setting the stage for destruction, and we stand on the word of God no matter the cost. And yes, opposition is guaranteed, but this is where we're going to draw the line. And honestly, my anthem this week has been an old song by Tom Petty. And if you were in my Instagram stories yesterday, you heard me playing it on everything that I shared. And that's, I won't back down. Y'all probably know the lines. Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. That's what I'm holding on to. So here is my charge to all of you. I know who I am. I know whose I am, and I know what I stand for. I refuse to bend, to back down. And all of you, I'm asking you to stand with me. Stand beside me. Stand up and stand firm. Because Jesus has promised us one thing, and that is the gates of hell will not prevail. And that's what I have for you guys today. So if you guys want to send me some questions, I think Keegan has probably sent them. I'll ask or I'll answer a few, and we'll get going. Okay. Julie, first question. Have you heard there are 0 ships porting for deliveries from abroad lately? I heard this from another Christian channel, or from another channel, although not Christian. Julie, I have not. I know there is a lot going on right now with some of the things I had shared in Telegram this week were all the planes that were going over to Europe and the Middle East. It's really wild, but I have not heard that yet. So if somebody has, they can post in the comments or in the chat. So yeah. Number 2. If it's not Daniel 9:27, then what makes it so different from Skylar? Skylar, that's a great question, because the Bible is clear in Daniel 9:27, and let me just read it for you. It's the Antichrist who confirms the covenant. So that's why. The treaty, the covenant here. It doesn't matter what things are getting in place right now. That's going to be who handles it. And I don't believe Trump is the Antichrist. Now, I guess if you believe that Trump is the Antichrist, some people do hold that view. I don't see that. I just think he's really helping to bring the guy in with some streamers and flags, but I don't see him as the guy. Let me read this to you. Sorry, I got so many tabs and bookmarks. I sometimes can't find where I'm trying to go. Okay, Daniel 9:27. Then he shall confirm a covenant. He is the Antichrist with many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week he will bring an end to sacrifice and offering, and on the wing of abomination shall be one who makes desolate, even until the consummation, which is determined, is poured out on the desolate. You can even read that in a different version. I think it reads a little easier personally in some other versions. I read the New King James, but sometimes I like to compare to the NLT or other versions. Okay, question 3. Just brainstorming. Would the trillions and trillions of metric tons of natural gas off of Gaza, millions of cubic feet, be a reason for making a deal with Israel for a temple? Just a question, maybe not smart, but I don't know. I mean, if you look at Ezekiel 38, when they talk about, when that whole war is going to go down, it's based on the fact that Israel is very profitable. They have a lot of different things that people want. I actually think gas could be a part of that. I don't know. That was something that it's been a long time since I've actually gone down that road thinking of that. But back in 2020, when maybe it was 2021, when they were moving pipes around in the ocean and all that kind of stuff, I had wondered if that could have something to do with it. But I don't know. That's a great question. And that was from, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try, but thank you. Question 4. Do you think they have already sacrificed the red heifer, Don G? Don, that is a great question. I think that's up for debate depending on how you look at it. I've had a couple of conversations with people. I think I've even had some on the last live stream that I did, not with Pastor Gary, but prior to that. If you go in and look up what Mondo has talked about, basically what happened was a ritual. And it was done by, what's called to be done in Numbers. But there are rabbis up there who don't see it as legit because it wasn't done on the Mount of Olives. So it's just really about rabbi interpretation. But I don't know. It's very interesting. I do know the Temple Institute has those ashes. So who knows? I really don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those things that there will probably be more of them. And that's where we're at. I mean, I could see it definitely being that in my mind, based on what we saw, the evidences that we saw, sure. But I know how it is, at least from everything that, I've studied over the years and just talking to other people who follow, Judaism culture and things of that nature. If you get, 2, 3, 4 rabbis in a room, they're not going to agree on the same things. So anyway, I think that is all of the questions. So thank you guys so very much. I appreciate y'all being here today. And let's see. Was there anything else that I wanted to? Okay, I think that's it. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for hanging with me, even though the internet is crazy with all of the freezing. But it was here, and we got it done. So I will see you guys in the next video. And until next time, keep your eyes on the sky and keep your ear listening for that shofar. I'll see y'all in the next one. Maranatha. And it might take a minute for the stream to end just because of the internet. So y'all can just stay here and look at me. Oh my.